In 1976, I was 6 years old. But there was one particular mini drama series that I would never miss. The title is Roots, based on the novel of the same name by Alex Haley. It tells the struggles of Alex's ancestor, Kunta Kinte, an African warrior who became a slave in 18th century America, and how his descendants found liberation at the end of the American Civil War. This word roots gave me an idea of what it means to look back at our beginnings, our birthplace, the blood ties with our relatives that gave us meaning and identity of who we are. This is what we are going to talk about on Roots Day today, 23rd of December. Why do we need to care about searching our family history, how we are born, who are our grandparents, great-grandparents, or the head of our family clan hundreds of years ago? The key answer is to find the motivation behind these questions. Why do we exist? And what do we gain from knowing our roots? Most of us are likely to trace our ancestral past to our cultural roots. For the Chinese, it would be the ancestral village in China where people bearing the same family name with us lives. When my maternal grandparents returned to China for good in the late 60s, they went straight to the village where the Yang family clan lived. But do you know that our origins could go beyond our cultural roots? Migration had already happened as early as 2 million years ago when early humans crossed the continents to find better land and living conditions for their tribes. And what this means is that if I get a chance to trace my biological roots of my forefathers all the way to that era, my early human ancestor could be an African or Aryan instead of Chinese. And in fact, this was already happening in the National Geographic's Genographics project. To participate, all we need to do was to submit personal samples of our DNA. And to date, nearly 1 million people from over 140 countries have taken part. So the next key question we need to ask is, why do we exist? As early as the 17th century, many of our ancestors have left their birth country for various reasons. The Chinese flocked to the colonial settlements in Southeast Asia to find work to support their families stricken with poverty back home. The Europeans went to America to work in the mines, brought their families over, and finally saved enough money to buy a piece of land for their own home. And when they became older and their children or grandchildren grew up, they would share the stories over and over again. They spoke of how these values of discipline, hard work, and perseverance have made them successful, how they have preserved the family's honor from one generation to another. They remind us to remember our roots. And most of the time, these things are passed down orally through conversations during family gatherings. My father was a man of few words. All he could tell me about his family history was that my paternal grandfather and his family had worked in a soap factory in the 1920s. And for the rest of the family history, I would hear it from my aunts during occasions like Chinese New Year gatherings and weddings, where they would tell me snippets of my father's childhood days, my grandfather, and even the mystery of my great-grandmother. Now, what do we gain from knowing and appreciating our roots? For me, it is emotional connection to a bigger extended family. The feeling of home when I visit my cousins and aunts when we communicate via instant messaging. It is also about emotional connection to a place. My mom used to share with me about her childhood days in her birthplace, which is Christmas Island, an Australian territory. And when I got a chance to study in Australia, my heart felt strangely warmed by the people and the environment over there. And when I was in Australia, I could feel strangely connected to that place. And this Christmas season is just the right time for all of us to reflect on our roots. As we spend time with our relatives, joke over meals, huddle under the Christmas tree playing board games, we remember the kinship that brings us together as one family. We remember to be grateful of our parents who gave birth to us. We remember the legacy that our family roots have given us. In the next episode, something creamy, delightful and spicy for a Christmas drink is awaiting us. Sit tight and find out more in Stories That Matter Christmas Special. See you!